Hi guys, Bill Bassett here from the Interclean Group. I'm here today with a friend of mine, Peter, who had an outbreak in his facility. You had one of the staff come up with a COVID test. What were you faced with at that point?
We were faced with an ordeal that we've never come across before and not prepared for it. And even though we had a COVID plan in place, we did everything as per what we had, but not knowing the difficulty of not understanding what has to be done. So what I ended up doing was I realised that the premises, the most important thing was the safety of the staff to get it cleansed. I ended up bringing Bill because I know he has Interclean, and he immediately came to the call of duty and met us here at 6 o'clock in the morning with all these products that I would have never thought of bringing and understood were the right products to use.
So today we're just going to re-go through exactly what I explained to Peter so that any of you guys that find yourself in a situation where you've had a COVID case, your staff are now going away for 14 days and you've got to make sure that that facility is as clean and safe for them to return to work as soon as they are allowed to. For our COVID cleaning, we are going to prefer to use disposables. Every surface we clean, we're going to be wiping it first and then applying a disinfectant where it's going to be wet for 10 minutes. Some surfaces are going to apply that with a cloth. Other surfaces, we're going to supply that with, let's say, an electrostatic gun like this. So the first thing that you're going to use for your office cleaning is identify all touch points will be cleaned with a disposable microfiber cloth. This is a 50 count. It's a strong cloth. It is real microfiber. But the key to it is that it's moistened correctly. So things like computer screens, keyboards, you can clean these properly. Did you notice that a lot of dirt came off?
Oh, it helped as well.
When you were using these?
Yeah.
They're a great way to just clean properly.
Especially when you want to get into the grooves and everything. Yeah.
The best cloth you can use for surfaces that you don't want to over wet. If you need a larger bucket of those sorts of cloths, this is a 500 count bucket.
500 bucket works very good because you've got a lot of surfaces, as you know, machinery and bench parts and offices and desks. And,
yeah. So this is 500 count and 500 count just refills for those buckets. So strong disinfectant wipes that you can wipe and clean surfaces prior to the disinfection process. So for the factory surfaces, we're going to use these cloths.
Strongly recommend the disposables because under the time of essence and the amount of air you got to do in fast and action, that quick throw, tie the bag, dispose of the rubbish.
So normally in a hospital or an aged care facility, we normally do for an infectious clean, we use 1,000 parts per million chlorine disinfectant. That's got to be applied to a clean surface, not a dirty surface. So after we've wiped those surfaces, that's when we're going to take our chlorine wipe. And this particular packet, as you can see, I've cracked it. And 7 minutes later, I've now got 5 great big wipes in here. That's going to allow me to apply the right amount of disinfectant onto those touch point surfaces that I've already cleaned. And if I need more than that, I can make up a whole bucket here of 90 count rolls. So remember guys, the most important person you've got to look after is the cleaner, because he's going to go around and in case that was you, Pete, clean all of the surfaces. And you've got to be able to do that and never transfer something from those surfaces into your body. So you're going to have glasses and goggles on to protect yourself from anything we're spraying. You're going to have the mask to stop us breathing in anything that's in the air, as well as anything we're spraying in the air. So that's to do our deep clean. Also to do what we call a keep clean. So this is ongoing now. When these staff come back to work, you're going to be cleaning your public areas, your toilets, food preparation or your cafe areas, entrance areas. You've separated those now into completely different zones. Is that right?
We've created, as high-vis colours, we've created team colours so that we don't have crossovers in areas of operation. So if we ever have effect again, we're not deemed to shut the whole business down. We can get it up and running in 48 hours and do the deep clean and get the 50% of the team back, and the casual contacts will come back in 5 days.
Right.
And the close contacts will take the 14 days as required. It's very important that the staff feel safe and that knowing that they're conscious as well. They've got to do their own sanitising and clean after themselves if they need to, but main concern is we want to make sure that we put in place a program that is done regularly during the day.
Yep. So remember, we're cleaning and disinfecting in our deep clean, but we're also going to be installing an ongoing cleaning regime. So you'll increase your cleaning standard, not simply by cleaning better or by cleaning and then disinfecting, but by also increasing your cleaning frequency. And that should be done in the easiest possible way, even where your existing staff can do some of that work. I noticed walking around the factory today, you've got the 1,000 count alcohol wipes everywhere, so that people can use these alcohol wipes. So anything on an ongoing basis, it's a very good idea to make sure people have got access to alcohol hand sanitizer gel as well as wipes. Wipes can be used for your glass surfaces like mobile phones, keypads, any of those surfaces should be cleaned with an alcohol wipe. And remember, you should be wearing gloves with any of this cleaning. So we've got 2 pairs of gloves on today, a set under here and these ones. So let's have a look at some of the areas that Peter's got to keep clean and had to deep clean last weekend. So basically we're going to start at the door. As we're walking into the room, we're going to move around the room in a consistent way. So Pete has wiped this first. I'm going to be spraying it with 1,000 parts per million chlorine disinfectant, and with this particular system it's wrapping around those surfaces. Okay, how do we do? Now let's just check that these surfaces are still wet, because we need this disinfectant to stay on here. You can see that's nice and shiny, so that's still very wet, these surfaces. So if we've got any surfaces that don't like 1,000 parts per million chlorine disinfectant or like a bleach, we will be back to wipe these down and wipe them off after the 10 minutes. Okay, now for our office areas, obviously these are offices in the factory. We're going to come inside and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to be cleaning our desk surfaces first. So that means here we've got touch points on the chairs, definitely the armrest. And don't forget any adjustment areas on the chairs. These are always touched by hands and often forgotten. We're going to clean the keyboards and the mouse, most particularly, and that whole desk area. We're going to be cleaning it properly, and obviously you're going to clean all of this, and then you're going to take either your disinfection wipe. In this case it's 1,000 parts per million, so this is quite a wet wipe. You'll see all of that, and we're going to be wiping that keyboard as well with that chlorine, the mouse, all of those surfaces, and particularly any of these touch points on the chair that our staff can touch later. You can see how wet that is on the surface, and if you do need to do large vertical surfaces, in this case the glass, these microfiber pads, this is an adjustable handle that allows me to clean this, and then I can come back and make sure that I'm applying my disinfectant. So in this case I am cleaning it in the first run, and now I'm going back and I'm making sure that my disinfectant is there. So before we were using a different cloth, one to clean and one to disinfect, but you could be using the same disinfectant cloth. The first time you wipe it, you're cleaning with disinfectant. The second time you're cleaning a disinfectant or a clean surface and leaving the disinfectant on there. What's really important is that these surfaces remain wet for 10 minutes in our case, because we're using 1,000 parts per million chlorine disinfectant, And then if it's a surface that we don't want to leave that on there for too long, afterwards, because it may damage the surface, we're going to come back and clean that off. Now this will be the cleanest that this facility's ever been, and Peter will be really happy to open as quickly as possible. One of the most important surfaces in a toilet cubicle is actually the lock. So most people are touching this lock before they've got to wash their hands. When you're disinfecting the toilet, you've got the separate surfaces here. You've got the cistern and the buttons, very important. You've got the top of the lid. You've got under the lid. You've got the top of the seat. You've got under the seat. You've got the top of the rim, inside the bowl, and outside of the bowl. The right amount of disinfectant, and we will be back to wipe that down in 10 minutes time. Okay, so any of your factory touch point areas, you can see here we've got an area that an operator works, you've got a screen, you've got an area underneath, and you've got a bench area here with a computer keyboard. This keyboard has a protective plastic soft plastic coating on it. Don't be surprised that you'll be removing a lot of dirt from these surfaces. They're not normally cleaned that well. And then we will be putting our disinfectant onto these surfaces. Now, whether you're applying that just with a garden sprayer, or in this case an electrostatic sprayer, which is sort of allowing me to put much less and finer amounts of disinfectant on the surfaces because I don't want to be hurting any of this electrical equipment. That's the way that you'll be cleaning all of the touch points in this area. When you're seeing buttons like this that people are touching with their hands, they're the types of surfaces that should be cleaned and disinfected. Now again, I could have been disinfecting this with the chlorine cloths, but I'm choosing, because we're doing a whole factory, I'm choosing to use an electrostatic sprayer. We'll be back to wipe this down because this is electrical or computer equipment. So obviously the last thing that we do in these areas is the floors, and we're just cleaning this one now. So it's a factory floor. We're not used to this level of hygiene, but we are mopping it first, and then I'm going to come back over this floor and lay down my chlorine disinfectant the same way. So this particular mop, you can see I'm pressing on the top of the button, on the handle. I'm releasing my solution onto the floor, and now I'm applying that to the floor. So I'll do the edges first, and then I will come back sort of in a figure eight motion. I'm actually mopping this area because I'm laying a lot of disinfectant with my finger on the button the whole way. And this is going to be fine for me to literally leave on the surface. So this floor, I'm cleaning it the first time I'm cleaning it, then the second time I go over it, because I'm cleaning it with the chlorine disinfectant, cleaning and then doing it the second time, and I'll change those mop heads as I need to. So this particular microfiber I can take home and launder it properly, or I can launder it here on the premises. So that's about it. You've seen us clean first, use a separate person to lay the chlorine disinfectant, whether we're using a cloth to do that, whether we're using a sprayer to do that, or whether we're applying it through an aqua mop. So if you need help, if you've been told that your facility has had a close case and you want the cleanest way, the safest way for you or your staff to clean it properly, then disinfect it, please reach out to us. We're interclean.com.au. We've been experts in cleaning management in the healthcare sector for many years, and you can use all of our products and our knowledge to help you do your safe COVID cleans and have your ongoing keep it clean systems, so that even if COVID does come into your facility, your cleaning regime will be removing it because you're cleaning it so well and so frequently. So reach out, call us, we're here to help. Have a great day.